The Rock did not just appear one day and rewrite WrestleMania, despite the fact that there are several out there trying to report that as a fact. Instead, he's playing out the plan of an in-depth surrogate challenger to keep the fires of the final boss versus the final story alive, and he's successfully tricking wrestling media left, right and center in order to make it happen. Cody Rhodes will be wrestling against a surrogate Rock, and that surrogate Rock, not a world I ever imagined we'd see, will be John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania. Now, how did we get here? Let's tell. While the WWE were putting together John Cena's final tour, making plans for his final matches against a wealth of competitors, Cena announced his impending retirement live during a PLE. I'm told that The Rock, up until this point, was not aware of Cena's plan, and at this time, he was still weighing up the chance that he himself could appear in the initial planned main event of WrestleMania 41, that being The Rock himself versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, a match that Cody Rhodes would be expected to win, and a match that The Rock eventually was not able to make happen due to a number of different commitments. Cena's announcement was said to be the beginning of a very exciting period backstage, with both The Rock and Triple H communicating often about what they could potentially do with the upcoming WrestleMania and what they should do when it comes to the main event. Essentially, The Rock learned a valuable lesson from last year's WrestleMania and was asking, what can I do to help? Instead of, as he did previously, stepping in and deciding he was then in charge. The Rock and John Cena themselves had a sit-down discussion facilitated by Triple H near the very end of 2024, and this is when the heel turn was first discussed just over 3 months ago. This is also when we saw some big changes happening for the WrestleMania card, because around this time was also the first Raw on Netflix, something that, as I reported at the time, The Rock was heavily involved in the writing for. Now, Triple H did shift things around to accommodate Cena and The Rock, but also in recognition that their plans for Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa for the Tribal Chiefdom, they weren't really working as intended. This was also true of a planned Finn Balor versus Damian Priest match. That match has since pivoted to Priest versus McIntyre instead, with no clear option, no clear and obvious route for Finn Balor. Now, at the time of The Rock's Bad Blood appearance, he had ideas, but he did not have plans. Things were being discussed, but not finalised. Rumours of The Rock skipping WrestleMania apparently aren't true, with The Rock planning to be there but for insurance reasons, not taking too big a risk in ring. It was a while after that things came together. We're still waiting on confirmation as to whether he'll be there out by ringside in person, or whether he might make an appearance similar to how he was briefly involved in the main event last year as well. Cena was said to be very receptive to the heel turn when it was pitched to him. He was offered the match against Cody Rhodes anyway, regardless of whether or not he was going to be face or heel. But this certainly inspires a big fight feel and a half, since turning heel in a shocking moment that Triple H certainly celebrated, and so he should, that nobody saw coming. What we have now is a very intense feud, with The Rock essentially acting as puppet master over John Cena. Of all the people, historically one of the biggest rivals to The Rock has been John Cena. And he's the guy currently literally on The Rock's coattails. The Rock was, as I've mentioned, looking to do something similar to Austin versus McMahon. As such, we now have John Cena, the representative, the heel version of Steve Austin from WrestleMania 17. There is a lot going on here, and we haven't even had any real inclination as to what the heel John Cena looks like in 2025. I feel confident in saying it doesn't look anything like it did the last time he was heel. Now, this is a team endeavour, and The Rock is expected to be in Cena's corner, but there's still a lot up in the air. I personally think that's what we're going to see. Right, gonna go straight in and immediately get rid of you entirely. We have trolls, and what you've just said is fucking disgusting. So you can go to hell. Anyway, while he'll come back as a troll and basically feed the chat rate, that's the only reason he was left, let's talk about news. The WWE are still trying to convince John Cena to lengthen his retirement tour until next year's WrestleMania, where once again, the WWE are likely to revisit the idea of The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. This is still a match at WrestleMania that they want to do, but much like the many years where we were waiting for The Rock versus Roman Reigns, that moment has not come because of basically conflicts in the contract and the requirement of The Rock. This will be revisited. Now, some spoilers that you might be interested in. From a storyline perspective, there are indeed rumours of a third person being involved. There is a suggestion out there at the moment that the WWE were teasing that Seth Rollins could be part of a trio. This would also involve lining The Rock directly up against another historic rival, CM Punk, and suggests that we may one day see a combination of Roman Reigns, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes on one side of the ring against The Rock, John Cena and Seth Rollins on the other. Now, there is a lot at play before we can consider Seth Rollins to be on the side of The Rock, particularly given that historically, the match last year, Seth Rollins stood against The Rock, but he also stood on behalf of Cody Rhodes. And you see, Seth Rollins right now is being fed by hatred. He has been for a while. His hatred of Roman Reigns could put him in a position where he is suspicious of Cody Rhodes essentially tagging with Roman. And that brief tag team match that looks throwaway suddenly makes a lot more sense. In addition to that, CM Punk. Hatred of CM Punk, particularly given that we're looking like Roman versus Punk versus Rollins at WrestleMania, basically a hatred derby for Seth Rollins, suggests that this could well still happen. And I mean, come on, let's be fair, that is a sexy lineup. Curiously, I did ask why The Rock, as a member of the board, wasn't aware that John Cena was retiring until Cena's official announcement. I was told, quite simply, he was busy, he has a life. In wrestling terms, I was told to sit down and shut up. Rumours that The Rock has changed the card last minute, we saw plenty of them all over the wrestling sphere. Not true. He did not change the WrestleMania card. The WrestleMania card was changed several months ago by conversations with The Rock and Triple H. His promo during SmackDown was rambling and all over the place because it hadn't been planned or rehearsed. Cody Rhodes did not know what he was reacting to because The Rock had not given him notes and had said, let's go out there and just do what we can. But The Rock at least knew where he was going with it. I reported that The Rock wanted the main event at the Chamber, and this is what happened. Now, I saw other media members delete tweets or suddenly go quiet. Rumours of McIntyre winning? Never on the cards for a second. Instead, The Rock worked this swerve beautifully. I have to tip my hat to the man. He did serious damage to several prominent wrestling news outlets and made sure nobody knew that John Cena would turn heel. You have people even in this chat saying that they knew for a fact, and I've got to say to you and to all of you and to the troll being a dickhead in the chat, guessing is not knowing, even if you guess correctly. The Rock and John Cena didn't just have Cody Rhodes. They had us all. And honestly, it's a very pleasant surprise. And if you watch the watch party, you can see my reaction to it. Now, my original intention was to take this part and cut it up into a short, but to be blunt, the last 10 minutes have been one of the most in-depth reports I've ever been able to make. I will revisit this later in the show for people who come in late, but let me know what you think in the chat, and remember, this is what spoiler warning gives you. And I say that knowing, firstly, be sure to say hi and bye to the trolls in the chat. I know that knowing that there are people trying desperately to celebrate a downfall that is not happening right now. Spoiler warning gave you the news about The Rock. Spoiler warning gave you that it was going to be a main event. Spoiler warning gave you more than anyone else did. And honestly, I am damn proud of what I've been able to report there.